and welcome back to another episode of Change Wired podcast. My name is Angela Shurina. I'm your host. I'm your master health executive, life, stress, sleep management, nutrition, and fitness coach 360, and just someone who cares about you as a whole person and who is deeply passionate about learning more about discovering, learning how to use and unlock more of our human potential so together we can create the most beautiful world all around us, one interaction at a time, one word, one high energy day, high energy conversation at a time. Guys, I've had this conversation with a friend of mine a couple of days ago about he had this concerns or thoughts about how each of us doesn't really matter. Like on a grand scale of the universe, we don't make a dent. We mean less than a speck of sand on a beach at sunrise. To which I told him, I had these thoughts, but then I thought to myself, it's not actually useful in my life. Yes, grand scale of the universe may be important, but I'm just human. And what I learned in my life, how the world turns out is the sum of interactions between all humans living in this world, as far as our human world is concerned. And to be honest, I don't really care about the universe that much. I do care about the world that I live in, and I do care about how we all live together, we humans. And if you think about that, what is everything in the world? It's a sum of daily interactions between people, and how you take care of yourself, what you eat, what you do with your body, with your mind, with your environment, that changes how you interact with other people, and that changes everything. Have you ever had a day when, I don't know, it's cold, it's raining, it's dark and gloomy, and things are not going well in your life or in your work, and you're dreading something, and you're like, oh, this is not going to be a good day. And then you go into a coffee shop, or maybe you meet a friend, but let's go with a coffee shop. And you go into a coffee shop, and barista, for whichever reason, is in a really good mood, and he or she makes a joke, and maybe gives you a compliment, or says something nice. And all of a sudden, you start feeling, hey, the world ain't that bad. And things might actually improve. And things might actually work out, right? One shift, one conversation, and your whole day is changed. And what is our life if not a sum of all those days that might go into a completely different direction because just one comment or one conversation at the right time and the right moment. And that's what it's all about. How to take not control, but realize your responsibility and ownership of the energy that you carry into your day, the energy that you carry into every single conversation, into your work, into every idea you choose to work on. And that is how you change the world, one interaction at a time. And yes, each of us doesn't matter that much, but all of us, that's what makes the whole world work. So you don't matter, and yet you are the most important thing. But besides that, and grand scale of universe type of question, today we're talking about 5 nutrition principles that after interviewing 30 high achievers, and I'm still interviewing 20 more, I learned where high achievers get their nutrition right, and where people who struggle with nutrition and their energy and their performance, from which everything else begins, tend to make mistakes, or tend to not have enough information, or tend to think it's not important, or do it but not in the right way. So 5 nutrition mistakes that steal your energy, your drive, your health, your vitality. Especially I'm talking about after the age of 35, 40, 45, because when you're young, your body, your brain, your health, they're forgiving. But then once you get older and older and older, the less forgiving they are, and the more you need to take proper care of yourself. And so today you're going to learn some nutrition basics, specifically some 5 nutrition mistakes that people who tend to struggle with energy, also with their strengths, with injuries, with sleep, with midday crash, with feeling more fatigued than they'd like to. These are 5 mistakes that I learned from interviewing people and from my clients, 18 years working with clients, that people tend to make. They're very simple, but not doing them correctly and consistently makes a whole difference. So mistake number 1, let's jump into that, is thinking you are eating enough protein and actually not eating even close to where you need to be. Most of women, most of guys eat somewhere around 60 to 70 grams of protein per day, having maybe a couple of eggs for breakfast, if any, then having some wrap or some sandwich or some salad, maybe with some chicken or tuna in the middle of the day, and then for dinner having more or less stuff with protein, chicken, fish, meat. And you end up having, again, about 60 to 80 grams of protein per day, where for most needs, you need to, for thriving, for having your muscles, for having your strength, vitality, and fitness, prevent injuries, to make your hormones work well as you get older, to make your brain stay focused and learning and remembering and not forgetting people's names and being effective instead of in some sort of like brain fog with midday slump and having to, caffeinate yourself to just get to a functioning state. All of that is related to not eating enough protein, because every single cell in your body is made of protein. Your hormones are made of or with the help of amino acids that are building blocks of protein. Your neurotransmitters, your dopamine, your serotonin, all the things that make you feel good, driven, and vitality full, all those things are either made with protein, out of protein, or with the help of protein. So not eating enough protein undermines so many of your daily functions and your day-to-day experience, energy including. And again, most people don't get enough. An easy fix is to get a double serving of a good protein shake without added sugars. I go for flavored protein, but it has stevia as a sweetener, so it tastes really nice. But it's also low calorie and really good for your health in general. So double serving of protein shake for breakfast. Also have a snack like biltong or cured meat, or maybe a can of tuna in addition to your lunch, and then have your dinner as it is, and you'll be getting very close to hitting this 1.6 to 2 grams of protein per body weight, especially if you are active and you train and you want to stay active, you want to play till the end of your life, you want to play with your kids, with your grandkids, with your buddies, with your, girlfriends, right? You want to get your protein in if you care about looking great, strong, and fit, like inspiring way. So you want to freaking eat that protein like your life, your good life depends on it, because it for sure does. So protein, one major mistake. Again, 2 eggs is like 12 grams and you need like 130, 50 per day, right? It's like 1/10, not even that. Mistake number 2 is not hydrating properly. And by properly, we mean start your hydration early with 500 milliliters of water in your morning, and then at lunch, at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, have another 500 milliliters, and you're going to be hitting your water requirement. Obviously, if you drink more like teas and eat more water-rich foods, you're going to be getting more. But especially if you are active, you pee out what you don't need, but your body will thank you for the abundance of hydration that every single cell of your body need to function. Even 2% dehydration make you perform cognitively and physically worse in a way that is measurable by the objective instruments, like whether that's your fitness, whether that's your cognitive performance. The way you hydrate starting early in the morning will define how you feel and how you perform and how you recover and how injury-free you are. So hydrating early and using electrolytes, especially if you're active, especially if you use sauna, especially if you want to, again, train more as you age, getting some of that salt in your water early in the morning, or an electrolyte mix, even better. And then having it around your workout or when you sweat a lot, especially, if it's summer in your part of the world, electrolytes, those mineral salts that make your neurons fire, that make your cells communicate, that make your muscle contract, and your digestive, stomach, for example, is also a muscle. You got to get that water with those electrolytes. So underestimating the importance of hydration and protein, like two key mistakes that everyone is like, I got it. And then we look into actual details and they're like, no, you do not get it. You don't even get half. And that matters a lot. The third mistake is underestimating the importance of supplements. Like, most people don't eat even close to balanced meals every day. Just because you eat a salad once per day doesn't make a dent. You don't get those magnesium and calcium, which are crucial for your protein absorption, which are crucial for your energy creation. Like, literally, they're used to make energy. They're used to contract your muscles. They're used to make your neurons fire that make you think. They're used to make your digestion work, which is needed to absorb everything that you eat in the first place. Again, but there is, like, I don't know any person who I met in my 18 years of coaching who has a balanced meal that covers everything in abundance every single day. Like, not one person. And they did this beautiful research on older adults, 60 plus, when they just gave them simple multivitamin Centrum taken every day over the course of, I think, 2 to 3 years. And those adults who did it outperformed those adults who did not take the multivitamin on cognitive tests, on memory tests, all-cause mortality, injuries, and all kinds of health outcomes. Your supplements matter. And a couple of mistakes that people do. People tend to think that they need to get some super expensive supplements or they don't work. No, middle range price supplements are what you're shooting for. Too cheap, they're probably not good enough. Too expensive, you're probably paying for the brand more than you're paying for actual benefit that you want. And the second mistake is not getting your numbers right. The amount of certain nutrients, like when you take your omega-3s, getting those EPA and DHAs combined with 2 grams, which is more than usually on any supplement bottle, just because if they put sort of enough what is recommended in nutrition community by nutrition experts, people who get PhDs, sometimes a couple in nutrition scientists. If they put that on the label, the supplement gets too expensive. They're like, well, nobody's going to buy it, so we just make it less, right? So omega-3s, 2 grams EPA of DHA, magnesium, 400 milligrams, calcium, which most people do not get even close to. And that is important to calm down your nervous system, to get to sleep well on time and recover well, to contract your muscles. It's not just bones and teeth, it's also your digestion and your electrolytes, which make your body to absorb water and function well. This calcium, right? Very important. Most people that I work with never get enough of it. And I'm like, you gotta at least supplement. So calcium with 1,000 milligrams, you need 1,000 to 1,200 per day. And most people consume 200 milligrams, unless you do eat and consume a lot of dairy products. And by a lot, I mean 300 grams plus. So we get omega-3s, we get calcium and magnesium, we get multivitamin that needs to cover 100% of all your essential nutrients, things like iron, things like zinc, etc. Calcium and magnesium are never in your regular multivitamin just because they are big. And there is, none of the pills are big enough to make them, to put all of the amount that you need into multivitamin. So you usually need to buy them on top of your regular multivitamin. So multivitamin, that covers 100% of your essential nutrients. And on top of that, for most people, vitamin D plus K2 is a good one to get, because in a multivitamin, again, you just don't usually get enough to actually cover your needs and absorb them well. So those are key things in supplements to look into. A, know your amounts and know if you get it in your supplements. B, price range, middle, like look for middle, not the cheapest, not the most expensive. Most expensive, you don't care about all this minutiae, like very minor surplus of benefit. Cheap doesn't usually work that well because there is too little of what you actually need. Mistakes number 4, get your breakfast right. In the first part of the day, your body, your brain adjust, your metabolism adjust how you function, your energy levels, your hormonal balance based on the nutrition that you get or you don't get, what you do with your body, with your mind in the morning, what you eat in the first meal of your day really, really, really matters. So if you don't want to have midday crash, if you want to have good metabolic balance throughout your day, if you want to be focused and energized and vital throughout your day, you need to get a lot of essential nutrition in your breakfast. And that is also where your metabolism, your digestion is at its best. Like your dinner is when your body is already winding down and your digestion does not work as well. Digestive enzymes, blood sugar metabolism, all of those things needed to absorb and properly sort of utilize the fuels that you get. Plus, it's not the most active part of your day after your dinner. What are you fueling there? That is why it is important to have your breakfast, have that 2 servings of protein shake for breakfast, have your supplements for breakfast, and get your hydration super early. So then you get to function at your best throughout the day. So then you can set yourself up for recovery. So you avoid midday slump and just feel vital, fit, and energetic and strong and performing at your best as much as possible. Get that breakfast right. So number 4. And mistake number 5 is late food is really not great for you. That is how you steal one of the most important recovery protocols in your day. That is your sleep. Eat 3 hours before your sleep or more for proper digestion, for your metabolism and blood sugar regulation to balance itself out and settle down by the time you go to sleep. Your body temperature needs to go down. Your blood sugar needs to be balanced. Your neurotransmitters in your brain, like you need to be winding down. And when you eat, your body are winding up because it needs to do the work to absorb the nutrients, to utilize them, to just make everything happen for you to then use that nutrition. To a lot of work has to happen to absorb, metabolize, and deal with that food that you put in your stomach. And what health researchers and scientists say that, hey, it seems to be that when you eat early, like those 3 hours before bed, it really contributes to good quality sleep. And guess what? Good quality sleep is your energy, your vitality, your fitness, your focus and readiness to go the next day. Your sleep is your major recovery protocol. That's when your brain learns and connects the dots. That's when your body recovers, builds strengths in your muscles. That's what your body learns, different physical skills, and learns how to make you adapt to prevent injuries. That's where your body releases a lot of hormones that are needed for you to thrive and live a long, healthy, full of vitality life. Sleep is your body's major recovery and performance and play protocol. And if you eat too late and you drink alcohol and you consume caffeine too late, and you steal a lot of that effectiveness, and everything else that you do is going to be compromised and is worse. And no matter how well you do the rest of the stuff, if night after night after night after night you compromise your sleep performance, so to speak, you will undermine a lot of those efforts that you do throughout the day. So that is another major mistake. Just thinking, late dinner does not matter, or that glass of wine at dinner does not matter. It does a lot. And when you do it repeatedly, day after day after day after day after day, that's definitely compounds. So those are 5 major nutrition mistakes from 18 years of my nutrition coaching practice, I can tell you that most people do. And that's why a lot of people suffer a lot more than they could have. And it's up to you what you're going to do with this information. You can say, oh, it doesn't matter. Or you can also Google it, look it up, and read about the importance of these practices that I mentioned today. But believe 18 years of my coaching career, 25 years in the gym, having my six-pack abs for the past decade, feeling amazing every single day, barely ever getting sick, having amazing sleep experience, looking 10 years younger, and just having the best life experience no matter what's happening in my day. Believe that as well a little bit. And these are the things that I never skip. Well, close to never, I'm still imperfect human. So, number one, to sum it up, but before we sum it up, before we solidify that knowledge, please guys, share this podcast episode with at least one other person who might be really working hard on their health and fitness goals, but just doesn't have these details in place, and because of that might be getting a lot less results from their efforts. So share this podcast episode with them. So mistakes, let's get to recap so you can then put this into much easier practice. Get your protein for the day. 2 servings of protein shake in your morning, additional protein-rich snack like biltong or beef jerky, 50 grams of it in the middle of the day, and then have some protein in your dinner, as you usually do. The second one, getting your electrolytes and hydration right. Hydrate early, 500 milliliters in the morning, at breakfast, at lunch, at dinner, and then add electrolytes, especially if you are active. Number 3, supplements, the middle price range, and get your numbers right for your omega-3s, your magnesium, your calcium. Get the right kind of multivitamin and vitamin D plus K2. Number 4, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I don't care when your breakfast happens, preferably earlier, but the first meal of the day is where you really need to invest some meal prep, some essential nutrition there. And mistake number 5, no late food unless you want to have a crappy sleep experience, which undermines every other effort on nutrition and health and fitness front. That's it for today, guys. There is a surprise for you in the show notes, a link that you can use to book your complimentary nutrition, health, sleep, and stress management coaching session, complimentary with the report, the recording, and the ability to ask every single question that you have about your routine. You can bring your blood work, you can bring your DNA analysis, you can bring your gut analysis results, and I'll walk you through what you need to do every day and how to do it in a simple way on that session. You can also bring your weight loss, fat loss questions, which I have quite a lot of experience in. The link is in the show notes. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And till next time, well, keep eating well and keep growing.